Hola a todos, ¿cómo están ustedes? A veces la gente me pregunta, how did you learn Spanish? ¿Cómo has aprendido español? Pues la realidad, la verdad, well, the truth is, I don't consider myself being fluent, and I feel in many ways it's a lifelong process. After you learn a second language, you know, you can continually improve, and I think that that's the best way, and it's actually the natural way that it's going to go. I don't believe you're ever going to speak as good as a native speaker. You can get super high, but there'll always be, I guess, kind of a glass ceiling when it comes to learning a second language. Because, and I don't mean this to discourage, and I even have hope for myself that I'll continue to improve, but I believe that native English speakers or native Spanish speakers, they can definitely speak their native language, without ever being detected or being found out to not be speaking their native language. I have been speaking Spanish for about 20 years now. I started learning Spanish when I was, I think, 11 years old, and I started in just a traditional public school. It wasn't any kind of special school or anything, but we had a really good foreign language program. We had a lot of teachers of different languages, Spanish, French, who actually were from some of those countries that actually spoke those languages, and they were very passionate. And I was a pretty shy kid growing up, especially in junior high. I was a little bit overweight and stuff like that, so I really found a safe place with learning a second language. So it really, it was something that I really gravitated towards. It was a form of expression for me more than anything when I didn't have any friends or really anyone to talk to other than family. So I would go to this class and I would practice these conjugations and the numbers and the vocabulary. And it's weird because fast forward, after 7th and 8th grade I took Spanish, but I didn't take Spanish again until I think it was the 11th grade. And like I said earlier, the teachers were so good and so passionate, and they taught so well that I was able to pretty much retain just about everything. That just waving at a neighbor, it's a pretty peaceful morning. So I pretty much remembered a bunch of the vocabulary, a lot of the conjugations, almost everything. So by the time I got to the 11th grade and 12th grade to take Spanish again, I was in pretty good shape. I was nowhere near the place where I could have a conversation, but just that foundation was really strong. So then I went to college. I undergrad in something completely different. I actually did accounting for 6 years. Did I really care to be an accountant? Not really. I just was trying to think of something that I could do that, I would be able to support myself, be able to feed myself. So, I did that. I got that degree, and I didn't take Spanish at all, but I worked in the store while I put myself through college, and I would practice with the customers in the store. I'd see them looking for something, and sometimes they would ask me in English, do you know where the cabbage is, or do you know where the detergent to wash clothes would be? And I'd tell them. I'd try to speak Spanish to them, especially if I know that their English wasn't the best at the time, because they may have seemed like they were learning a second language as well. So I took the opportunity to practice with them, and that helped me to build my confidence. And what I found is that a lot of people, I'm thinking like 90% of people, if you try to talk to them in Spanish and you're not actually fluent, they'll actually still talk to you. I've met a lot of people who kind of appreciate that you care to learn their language that they grew up with in their home and their culture. So, I definitely, didn't have many bad experiences. Every now and then someone would, not really want to talk to me in Spanish, and I get it. They may have thought it was a little bit disrespectful or whatever, but, they were never mean about it, and I tried to be as respectful as possible at all times. But in general, it was really a pleasurable experience. I met a lot of people who even worked at the store, and they helped me with my Spanish too. So all those things contributed to me learning. So I picked up a lot more vocabulary, more phrases, just working at the store. Now fast forward again, I was doing my accounting job, which I didn't exactly hate, but it really wasn't fulfilling at all. And so I would find myself when I was doing some of my work at my desk, instead of doing my work, I would be like looking up Spanish phrases or words. And one day, I realized that this really wasn't what I really wanted to do. My personality didn't align with it at all. So I got back in school, in college, and I actually had to take a placement test to see, if I needed to take Spanish courses. I had a really good team of people at my university, so like the department head and the teachers, the faculty, and they said, well, if you want to take Spanish, you have to take Spanish 101 and get like a Spanish degree. And I said, well, maybe I should take the placement test because I'd be able to test out of a lot of classes. So I took the placement test. I scored really high on it, fortunately. And I think I maybe skipped 4 classes. So all of the basic classes I skipped. And I went on to like the intermediate level. I got the chance to, take a lot of those classes, film classes in Spanish, cooking classes, conversation classes, a lot of good things I picked up there. I even got the opportunity to study abroad in Spain, so that really helped me. I did 30 days in the University of Salamanca, which is one of the oldest universities in the Spanish-speaking world. So that really helped me a lot. I really was immersed in the culture. I'll be honest, the first day, I didn't understand almost anything. The second day, I understood a little bit more, but by about the 3rd or 4th day, I went to that class and I understood prácticamente todos, like almost everything. It's weird how the brain works, but, I guess just being a human being, if you have, some knowledge of the language and you're immersed in the culture, you'll kind of catch up. And I'm sure it depends who you are, and it's different for different people, but, I really caught up pretty fast. And, so I spent those 30 days in Spain. We traveled to maybe 4 or 5 of the historic cities like Cordoba, Sevilla, the Andalusia region. We went to San Sebastian, which is like a beach town close to the border of France and Spain. So, I tried to make the most of my trip. I didn't really speak any English to the locals, and it was kind of like central Spain. So a lot of the locals didn't even speak English anyway, so it was kind of like sink or swim. And, I made the most of it. And after I got back from Spain, I actually got my first teaching gig. So this is my 4th year about to begin, so I'm pretty excited for that. And as a teacher, especially a foreign language teacher who pretty much makes my own content for my class, I feel like I'm really starting to hit my stride as a teacher. I'm starting to really understand the kids. I'm starting to understand how they learn, how to keep their attention. So, I'm really excited for my 4th year coming up. And so, this summer I'm taking the opportunity to kind of make more content. I'm going to make my own books that I'll even have for sale. I'll probably put them on Amazon. So, workbooks, that'll help a lot. Many of my parents at my school who are from like a Spanish-speaking family, they're not fluent in English. So that's another way that I get to practice a lot of Spanish for free. The Spanish that I do know, which isn't super extremely fluent, but more than conversational, I would say. I understand about 80% of what my parents are saying to me, which is actually very good, really high. It's not too often I ask them to repeat something. So I'm taking that opportunity to stay at this school as long as I can to continue to learn. And of course to help the kids, because, if you didn't start off as a teacher, but you go back to teach after college, you just find out how important it is and how great it is to give back to your community, and you're helping the next generation of kids, whether they go on to speak Spanish or not. Just being a teacher, it lets you know that you're really giving back in your life. And giving back, it's not just about the people who are rich. Everyday normal people can give back. And I think we all, can take that opportunity. Whether you volunteer in your city or, you become a teacher become a police officer. Just do whatever your job is to the best of your ability. And, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So, yeah, that's kind of how I learned Spanish. It's not all of the details, but it's definitely the outline of it. So, I'm going to kind of keep adding content to my channel frequently, maybe 2 or 3 videos a week. It just depends on how I feel. I have a lot to talk about, and I can get kind of long-winded, but I try not to ramble on either. But it's easy to kind of build it into your day. So you got neighbors passing by, they're getting their morning routine started too. So it's a good way to meet a lot of people in my community. So speaking Spanish, it's opened a lot of doors for me, and I try to express that to even my kids at the school, because I teach at an elementary school, so I teach pre-K to 3rd grade. So they're at an age where some of the things I'm teaching them, they won't mentally even access for maybe 5-10 years, and they'll still remember it even when they're in high school, the basics. So they're in their formative years, so I'm trying to take the opportunity to get something to stick. So in my example, I learned French, not fluently, but a lot of the basics, counting to 10 and saying hello, how are you. I learned that in 2nd grade. We had a teacher who was from Canada. I think she was from Quebec, and this is like Louisiana in the 90s. She came and she taught us French for maybe 2 weeks or something, or whatever. And I remember pretty much everything she taught me in the class, which wasn't a lot, but I guess in 2nd grade, your brain is forming, you're like a sponge. You kind of remember that stuff kind of gets, I guess, hard-lined into your brain. So, I can even remember that. I found something else. If you want to be really good at a second language, I found that being very strong in your native language, so English, it really helped me. And if you're a person that isn't really strong in English, as far as language and usage and semantics and parts of speech, verbs, subject-verb agreement, nouns, don't get discouraged, because as a human being, you have the uncanny ability to learn a second language, and we don't even realize that people have been speaking different languages for thousands of years, just to trade with other people that live close by, in the next city or the next region. So you definitely can do it. So don't get discouraged. You can do it. I definitely feel like you don't necessarily have to go to a Spanish-speaking country. You can create a kind of immersion, by watching videos, watching movies, hearing popular songs, getting the transcript to the songs, or reading the captions. It can kind of help activate that part of your brain. And I'm not going to say it's easy. I was really fortunate to have started when I was about 11, but you can still do it. So I'm just saying the best of luck to you. And I will try to, tell you more about my story and, put more videos on over time to try to help others. And this channel, I'm expecting to help not just people who are English-speaking, people who want to learn Spanish. Hopefully my content can even help people who are native Spanish speakers who want to, improve on their English. So, that's another thing that I'm trying to offer. And, it's just really a great form of expressing myself, letting people know about, what's going on in my town. I live in a small town in Louisiana. I think the population is maybe 25,000 or something. Our town has a university, so it's growing little by little. So I think one day, our town is going to be, pretty big. And by one day, I think maybe in 100 years or so, but I can definitely see the path that it's on now. So hope everybody has a great day, and hopefully I'll see you and be able to talk to you soon.